my last stream, but I was still mid-video there, so we got cut off. We really did get cut off, man. Just pick up where I left off. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. No explanation to speak of. Oh, and I lost my spot on YouTube too. The whole fucking world's against us, man. I swear to God. So now I gotta go back and figure out where the fuck I was. Are you serious with this shit? Oh, she finally ended the stream. There she is. We haven't made it that far yet, then. There, we're somewhere in here. No. Wasn't here, but. It's like you've never had an opportunity to play a game of fucking table tennis in your life. Like, especially now. Like, that's just... So you have this dream and you throw the ball and it's like God's telling you you need to go play ping pong? Like, what the fuck? Oh yeah, that's where we are. No. No, it's not. It's not a fucking birthday celebration for mothers. This is somewhere around here was going on about how mothers actually have their own birthdays, and I don't know if that got lost in the wash in the last one. I'm not going to do it again. Wow. Is that breaking the Sabbath? No. Yeah, right. You're talking to yourself, right? You're not even looking up the fucking verse yourself. You're having your fucking crony Alexis do it for you. Poor girl, right? You're like, you can't even be bothered to look up the fucking Bible verse yourself, woman of God? Really? But you're communing with Jesus somehow. You're speaking to Jesus when you're talking to yourself. When you have other people look up scriptures for you. Yeah. That's what the disciples were like, which Airbnb? What the fuck? How the fuck did she? Fucking dead right now. I have to hear that again. That's too much. He sends him ahead. He's like, go and prepare the Passover meal so we can eat it together. Oh, shit. Okay, and then. They asking Jesus, like, where do you want us to prepare it? So that's like their equivalent of like, which Airbnb should we stay at to prepare? that's fucking great. She just makes this connection. That's amazing. Good morning, Daniel Berry. Good to see you. Okay, so these are just the instructions, right? He's like, go ahead, prepare the Passover meal. They're like, where are we going to do that? He says, so when you go in there, follow the dude with a jug of water and ask him to come use his house. Like, is that's the story, right? Like, you're gonna see a dude with a jug of water, just follow him home. That's. Yeah, as soon as you understand, so she's relating all of this to herself, right? Like, this story is like a 1-to-1 correlation with what she's gonna. You'll see, yeah, you're gonna see a dude carrying a pitcher of water. You're gonna follow him home. Then just like ask him if you can, go use the guest room. Yeah, no problem. Is that counted amongst the prophecies? It's like, yeah, I sent them into the city. I knew they were going to see this dude, jug of water. They're going to go to the house, talk to the guy. Is that prophetic? Or was it just like commonplace back then? Like, because that was, what was the other dude? Lot, right? Just like let strange people into his house. It's like, oh yeah, come on in. Like it's like Southern hospitality over here. Be my guest. just the tone of her voice is just so, oh God, sounds like such a spoiled brat. Oh, stop it. She heard God, like a man standing beside her, clearly is going to speak to her, right? Like God's going to speak directly to Queen Balemzi. That's insane. That's literally insane. That's like certifiable, get this woman to a hospital insane. That's all he said. Just check Airbnb again. Like, I've been checking it for 2 weeks, but now that you've been praying enough, go check. Fucking way. Shoot. Is she arguing with God, who is speaking clearly to her, like a man standing next to her? She's gonna argue with God now? She's like, I already tried that, God. I don't know why you're telling me to try that shit again. So she saw it before, like within the last couple of weeks in her searches, but it was more expensive. So because she prayed, God dropped the price. Or maybe because they couldn't rent it at that price, the people who had it listed lowered the fucking price. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. What a concept. It's got ping pong and air hockey. Booyah in the name of Jesus. Oh shit. This woman clearly connected with her in tune with her subconscious. Just very very self-aware. She's like, when I'm talking to Jesus, I'm really talking to me. But it's really Jesus, I'm telling you. He brought me a ping pong ball in my dream, and look, here's a ping pong table in my fucking Airbnb. It must be a God thing. Miraculous. Duh. Wow. 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 I love how she's sitting there like arguing with God in her mind, and yet she's still being rewarded, right? Like she's like, I already tried that, God. Why tell? She's got, and she expresses this like you can hear it. She is vocalizing this frustration right now, even after the fact, right? So you know how much worse it was at the time in this mental conflict, talking to God, who's really herself, who's really God. Or something like that, right? Like, it had to be a pretty intense argument. Team Jesus. Team Jesus. Who's playing for Team Satan? I will take that ping. I will whoop your ass in ping pong for Team Satan. I would challenge you to air hockey, but that'd probably be a little too aggressive. Wait. Before she said it was like 10 G's. Now she's like, it's 1,000 something. Now it's like $600? $600? That's actually really good. That's not bad. I mean, it's in Salt Lake City, right? Like middle of bumfuck nowhere. But I mean, if you got business there, then why not? Wow. I think that's the problem. A lot of these people's wow factor is really, really low. Right? Your standards are fucking below sea level. $600 and something. Before it was 1,000 something. Now it's marked down to 600 and something. Wow. It's a miracle. It's just, just like, it's unfucking believable. I mean, it's not. It's totally believable. This is all really happening. But this is the way these people's fucking mind work. It's like, oh, they reduced the price. The Airbnb I wanted to stay at must be a fucking God thing. Oh, look, there's a ping pong table. I don't buy that she didn't know about the ping pong table before. I feel like she knew about it and she just wanted to throw it in there after the fact. She might even just made the whole dream thing up just to make it spicy. She fake like that. Big ol' house. They probably used it to film porn. I don't know why I said that. It's like a nervous tick or something. That's not the end. Oh my goodness, that is nice. That's a little ridiculous. Okay, I'm jelly. I'm gonna pray for this house. Alright, I'm bored with that though. We know where that's going. So this one, Somebody recommended Todd White to me a while ago, and well, I found a lot of his stuff, weird. I didn't really find it too alarming or offensive until this one he posted tonight, and I don't know. This is the first I've heard him talking about shit like this. But there's pretty common talking points, and considering this was just posted, I'm not sure when this conference actually took place, but some of the talking points he uses here are very old, debunked, conservative news spin. So, yeah, trigger warning, because he goes there pretty fast. We're gonna have some pushback for this one. So. Yeah, and so he knows what he's doing, obviously. He sets it up this way, and without addressing any of the bullshit he just said, we'll just get into what he's going to say next, because it's ignorant. It's fucking ignorant. Now, again, I've never heard Todd do anything like this generally. He's more into like faith healing and like new agey Christian bullshit for the most part. So I was actually kind of surprised to hear him doing commentary like this. But again, I don't like follow. I just kind of check his stuff out every once in a while. So this may not be a first, but again, some of these talking points have been thoroughly squashed. Like. So, wait, you can't be... Yeah, all this shit seems like just word games. What if you just see yourself as a winner and nobody's trying to make you lose? Catch that? So you're not really sick. Some of his faith healing shit is kind of twisted like that too, but... which doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever, right? Like, if you have shit, if you ain't got shit, you ain't. Like, what the fuck is he even talking about? Yeah, okay, but now say what you really think. So, this is an interesting way to segue into this. Identity theft. There is identity theft. You may not know this. He's not talking about the type of identity theft you may be thinking of. Check this. When have you ever heard in America that you can identify as a cat? Yo, what's up, Halsey? Good morning. Oh boy, we're doing this again. You can identify as whatever the fuck you want in the good old US of A. There was an artist formerly known as Prince. He identified as a symbol that he had like drawn up by an artist. You know what I'm talking about? Pretty sure it's always been that way. It's just outliers of people who actually do that. But how many people are actually trying to identify as cats? Living as furries? I don't know. What point did it, yeah. It is. What you're saying is very stupid. So try to think about it. That never happened. It was mythology. Nice try, though. Still identify as a cat if you want to. Anytime you wanted to. Pretty much like in the history of America, as far as I know. You just identify as whatever the fuck you want. You change your name to whatever. Like, that's all in the code. Like, you can do all that. And there's no litter boxes in the bathrooms at school. Yes, you are, sir. You're born with an innie or an outie. Comparing genitals to belly buttons now. It's mostly true. You're born with a penis or a vagina, unless you're intersex. There are those cases. Pretty rare. But that doesn't really have anything to do with trans identity, does it? No. I mean, other than, the fact that they make choices regarding their genitals and, the way that they choose to, alter them, right, at some stage in life. But that doesn't affect you unless you really want it to. Do you really want it to affect you? Just call them by their penis or vagina, dick or a pussy, right? Like, that's what you mean to say. This whole belly button thing is even more, like, the more juvenile they make the language, the worse it gets, because they can't even like talk like adult sex talk. Like, they can't even do that. It's an innie or an outie. Okay, buddy. Not always. It's not always obvious, especially in young children. You ever see like young children like they're dressed in like gender neutral, and you're like, I'm not really sure. Like up until a certain age, it's not always obvious. It's not even always obvious to the doctors when they first come out. They like part the legs. It's like this whole expedition to figure out whether it's a boy or a girl. And so, what he means to say is that some churches are letting trans people participate within the congregation. They're being tolerant to trans people and homosexuals, and oh my goodness. Um, so that's a problem. It's a problem. It's radical views, Todd. Well, the problem is that they would be losing membership, right? Like some churches would lose a lot of people, right? If they were to, that's kind of been an issue, right? If they continue to deny LGBTQ identity and their rights and to recognize them and let them marry and all of that good shit, right? Then they lose those numbers. It's not just those people. In some cases, it's their friends, it's their family members who leave with them, and they'll go to a more progressive church. Lowering the standard of what the gospel truly is and messing up grace. Messing up grace. Is that can you mess up grace? That seems kind of contradictory. Like grace is the state of things being messed up, and you kind of like being tolerant and compassionate, right? That's what grace is. Like it's accepting things as they are, sort of type of thing, right? I think that's what I understand. Grace. It's no wonder we wake up without his presence. We're turning away from him. So yeah, that whole identifying as a cat thing, it's just bullshit. Bullshit. It's bad for you. That is transphobic. I mean, definitionally. And there's honesty from Trent Horn. He doesn't care. Um, actually, not so controversial. That's a pretty standard view from fundamentalists of all flavors. They don't give a fuck. They're just gonna continue on about this. So yeah, cool beans. Good for you. I think we recognize that you don't care though. That was the whole point of people calling you out for being a bigot, and then you're just like, yeah, I know I'm a bigot. I don't care. Yeah, cool. Okay. Wait, you're gonna be charitable and loving towards all people, except like deny them basic common courtesy. Yeah, it makes total sense. Oh my goodness. So, the fact that you don't. How do I even address? Like, you not acknowledging what the labels mean while simultaneously acknowledging that you identify under that label, right? Just the is that that's the guy that's like a brand of cognitive dissonance, I think, right? Like you don't care that you're being labeled as transphobic. You know that the statements that you're making are in fact transphobic. You disavow of the label even though you acknowledge that you exhibit the characteristics indicative to the label? Okay. While still insisting on disrespecting other people's choices for identification. Well, nobody's talking about God's plan for your sexuality, right? That's not in the conversation. Everybody has sexuality. Not everybody believes that it's within God's plan. Good. Notice how he highlighted the portions that were, talking points: irrational fear of, aversion to, or not highlighted, discrimination against homosexuality or gay people. Wait. Did they just say, so this book, the excerpt that he's citing says that the two bodies are different and sexually incomplete? As in they can't perform the act of sex, like one person can't have sex with themselves, so that makes them sexually incomplete? That's the wordage that's. They are different, and they are both sexually incomplete. Because they... What does that mean? What does sexually incomplete mean? That doesn't... What the fuck does that... I can't get over that. That's crazy. It's a good thing they took this book out of schools, because that's fucking ridiculous. Who's teaching that to kids? Reproduction. Wow, yeah. As it works in most of our biological world, buddy. One sexual whole. You can't make that shit up. They form one sexual whole. Just gonna sit with that for a second. Oh, there's so much fucking wrong with this. Okay. They are ordered to procreation. Yeah, okay. Just because we are made with the capability of to procreate doesn't mean that that's like our sole function. Yeah, it's our basic biological function, like it is with every other living creature. Like, obviously, we want to propagate the species. It's like a no shit Sherlock right there. Like, well, I mean, via that logic, though, like, you should try to unite every possible pair that could mate, right? Like, so people shouldn't be monogamous. They should mate as many times with as many partners as possible to produce the most, to maximize the amount of offspring, the number of offspring, right? Like, that would actually be optimal under this plan. Yeah, this is repugnant. This is like absolutely atrocious shit. Never ever teach it in schools. Good job on whoever that was that banned the book. I mean, don't ban the book. Don't just like, but get it the fuck out of the school. Nobody needs to be teaching that shit in school. Yeah, you are. You are. You're homophobic. And stupid, and I'm sorry, I'm a little the answer is hell yeah. I'm Catholic. Duh. Does a bear shit in the woods? Yeah. Called it. Where are we at? 1:45 in the AM. Actions in the comments. Oh, Earl Woolley, good to see you. Sorry, I missed you there. Good morning. You cannot hear the video, like, at all? chat hear the video, and I see no answers. I hope this hasn't been a problem the whole time. Shit, I've been watching videos for like better part of 3 hours now. Is the video not coming through? Dump, 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 dump. Okay. I don't know what else I can do on this end. I guess I'm just gonna assume that we fixed the. Hopefully, there's not an audio issue. Otherwise, it's probably this whole stream is fucking weird. Put on subtitles. But now the subtitles are under my chat feed, huh? Whatever. How do you have mild homophobic, transphobic? It's like you either are or you aren't. It's not like a mild, it's like, are you accepting of somebody's identity and preferences? The whole stream has been this way? Uh-oh. Well... There's one thing we can do.
The term homophobia is widely used to describe negative attitudes toward homosexuality. And YouTube videos that condemn homophobia, violence, or radical protesters who use slurs.
So now you'll hear it through my microphone, I guess. Assuming that this whole system doesn't crash on me. Yeah, when I've done these in the past, it usually works with my Bluetooth. Usually the device audio shows up when I'm here. I can see it as it's playing.
But on merely thinking homosexuality is unnatural, or that homosexuality is a sin.
Homosexuality is unnatural. This is a fairly common argument that you've probably heard before, and it's also not a true statement.
Homophobia is also used as a bludgeon to say that unless someone accepts LGBT ideology, they are literally risking killing people, as can be seen in this clip from the alleged comedian Lilly Singh.
But your opinion and similar ideas contribute to actual laws being made against gay people. So if you have an opinion about pineapple on pizza, I don't care. But it's illegal to be gay in some countries. Imagine if the government took away your right to be yourself.
The media are also quick to blame any LGBT-related tragedy on people who are transphobic, simply because they think men should not use women's locker rooms, or people who are homophobic because they...
Oh my goodness, and this reminds me, there was a story posted by Aaron in the Morning earlier. Apparently, I'm trying to remember which state it was, I think Mississippi, that made it a law. So now, basically, cis people can sue trans people for using the bathroom. It's like it's a civil statute. So they could sue them like personally for damages for being in the same restroom with them. right? So it's not like just a talking point, right? Like, you're not just, like, people are trying to take action. And this is like the type of instance where, yeah, like, hate crimes get committed. People get fucking beat up or fucking killed sometimes. Or, yeah, they end up, you know, doing the self-skillet or whatever they're calling it now, you know? So...
They correctly note that homosexual acts are disordered. In 2024, an Oklahoma high school student named Nex Benedict died. The media portrayed her as being non-binary, and one article said, Oklahoma banned trans students from bathrooms. Now Nex Benedict is dead after a fight at school. But an investigation later showed Benedict died of a drug overdose. And she started the fight in the girls' bathroom by throwing water on a group of girls she didn't previously interact with. Now, the death of anyone is tragic, but tragedies should not be used to score points against political opponents or to claim that their preaching of the truth is literally killing people. This also comes up when people say that if you don't support Drag Queen Story Hour, if you don't celebrate transgender ideology, and if you don't allow children to undergo mutilative and destructive gender reassignment protocols, they will kill themselves, which isn't true. A 2024
Yeah, and like half of the shit you just, you know, cited isn't true. Like child gender reassignment surgery just isn't a thing. Not in the US anyway.
War study published in the British Medical Journal showed that providing young people who identify as transgender with these so-called reassignment protocols does not lower their risk of suicide, which is primarily driven by other mental health factors. If anything, these kinds of damaging surgeries and protocols are likely to perpetuate mental disorders that cause these children further harm. That's why last year in
reality, you take like the most extreme cases, and this is what the right does, and like all the time, right? So, you know, why would this be an exception? You take like the most extreme fringe cases and try to platform those against, you know, the hundreds of other people who...
European countries restricted transgender treatments for teenagers, citing lack of research in favor of these radical policies. Finally, I acknowledge that some people do hate and wish for violence upon those who identify as LGBT. This is wrong and sinful. For example, Christians should never use slurs like the F word when referring to people who identify as LGBT. We should also not think that these individuals are less deserving of God's love and our charity than anyone else. In 1986, Mother Teresa founded the Gift of Peace in Washington, D.C., a hospice dedicated to comforting men dying of AIDS.
Oh, no, not fucking Mother Teresa.
A 1987 Washington Post article reveals that many people protested the facility because they mistakenly thought AIDS could be transmitted through the air, though some simply opposed caring for these men because they had engaged in gay sexual acts. The article said, others disapprove of the fact that the home is caring for gay men. AIDS comes because of immoral acts, said the Reverend William Witt. Why is it doing charity work to bring them in? If anything is homophobia, this is homophobia. No matter what a person has done in his or her life.
Oh, so you can acknowledge that that is homophobia. Well, that's good. You know, I mean, at least we can, you know, we draw the line there. It's like, okay, we'll let them in the church because we don't want to look homophobic, but we're still going to deny them, you know, their identity and their, you know, like their, well, you know, it's just like, okay, so clear line between like gay, you know, gay and lesbian people, right? Like for the most part, it's a very different dynamic that's going on there from the trans community or the queer community. It's like, okay, well now this a part of this is like societal acceptance in my individual identity, right? It's not like a sexual preference. Being trans doesn't necessarily denote a different sexual preference. That fucking thing going off again. So like gay people would be like, okay, you know, you still call me by the, you know, the right pronouns and shit, even if you don't accept my sexuality. But trans people don't even get that, right? Because you won't call her she or whatever, right? Or by the appropriate name, right? You'll dead name. So find another way to...
He or she deserves to be comforted at the hour of death. I reject labels like homophobic because they turn everything into hatred, even gentle.
Oh, to be comforted at the hour of death. So it's not even like accepting them in the church. You're just like, oh, well, when they're dying, I guess, I'll go, try to make them feel better.
Moral correction. And if everything is hateful, nothing is hateful. Saying the textbook I cited earlier and the Westboro Baptist Church that uses horrible signs at protests that denigrate people who identify as LGBT. Saying that...
I wouldn't say it's hateful, but I would say, it's clearly religiously influenced. Like, it's not unbiased. It's not factual, right? It's a faith-based text. It's not a science-based text.
These are both homophobic. Just gives a license for reasonable people to become unreasonable.
It is homophobic, and inherently, in that it says that homosexuality is unnatural and disordered
and hateful. Instead, we should be willing to engage one another in civil dialogue, even when we disagree, whether it's on issues related to same-sex morality, as I had with Pastor Brandon Robertson years ago, or issues on opposite-sex morality, like the dialogue I had with a dating coach on fornication between men and women. We should call all people to embrace the gift of God's plan for their sexuality and not allow our culture to undermine...
So why does God have a plan for our sexuality? It sounds so fucking creepy, like, when you say it like that. It's like, A, don't play with yourself because he's watching you, and, it's just so weird. God makes sexual beings just to control their sexuality. God has a plan for everything. Don't fuck it up.
It with deceptive, propagandistic terms like homophobia. If you'd like to learn more about how to engage others on this issue...
And all your shit's propaganda for God and Catholicism. So, I don't know. Alright, let's see. We'll check this chat and get out of here. You can hear it now? Uh-oh. Well, we've been doing some, having some weird shit going on tonight. Alright, I'm gonna go to StreamYard and host a chat for a little bit. I'll try to make it through this lovely morning. It's 1:58 in the AM here in California, just north of the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. Feeling strangely fine, or whatever. Alright. So much love to everybody. Be well, and I'll see you on the next one momentarily, maybe. All right. Bye.